We got a guy, Isaac Feldman, here who used to work with us. He works at the Sports Network. He fought last week and won.
Winner by knockout from Long Island, New York, Isaac Feldman.
Here's the problem with that. Now with the proliferation of MMA,
Yes.
you ain't got anybody.
You have no idea.
Because that dude Isaac, who's a great kid,
Yeah.
you'd look at him and go, I'll probably have this guy. I can handle this guy.
He'd kill you in
Meanwhile,
30 seconds.
What?
Right.
Hi-ya! No, like, God damn, I had the wrong guy.
Welcome to the IkeTagon.
Hello! What's up? Welcome back. Another IkeTagon in your life. Ike Feldman here from IkeTagon.com. IkeTagon. You guys are learning how to spell it. It's not octagon, it's IkeTagon. I'm now in a formal suit with the UFC. UFC fighters fighting the octagon. I talk in the IkeTagon. They're jealous. They want a piece. But everything's working out. Don't worry. Thank you guys for the likes, the subscriptions, the retweets, the comments. Some of them. But thank you for the views. Thank you for watching. Thank you for downloading the Mind, Body, Soul podcast. iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, TuneIn, Radio Public, Google Podcast. It's all over the place. And it's completely opposite of this. It's polar opposite of this. This is a louder, more brash take. It's the Conor McGregor post-Floyd Mayweather type of style. That is the Conor McGregor pre-Floyd Mayweather type of style. None of you guys probably remember that. That was when he was this guy. Oh, Kimosabi. Now he's this guy. Hey, sorry. I'll fight you for it. He's changed completely. We got a lot of news involving Conor McGregor, involving Nate Diaz, involving UFC 245, some fight recaps, fight previews, movie reviews, a positive message. We got all that wrapped into episode 7. This is going to be my last episode from the States. No, I'm not being deported because of my awful comments about Russian fighters. I'm just kidding, Khabib. I'm going to France, Paris, to see the beautiful Eiffel Tower, the Louvre, smoke a cigarette. Be my first one. I promise. And go to my wife's lovely country of Macedonia. So I'll be doing other episodes, probably a little lower budget type of episodes, maybe just a phone and a camera or something, but I'll keep you guys in the loop. I'll do my best to stay on top of the fight world, the fight news, some headlines, give you everything, more of the same, but understand, I will be in a foreign country, enemy territory. Understand that. But IkeTagon number 7 is pure American. Bruce Springsteen, baby. Hot dogs and Budweiser, even though Germans own it now. Hot dogs and Budweiser, baby. IkeTagon number 7. Let's get it. The biggest news from this week, Conor McGregor has a press conference in Moscow.
I'm going to go through the entire roster like a chainsaw through butter. Make no mistake about that.
Wow, it sounds awesome.
And it's the new Conor McGregor, not a humble McGregor. It's a guy who's incorporating a sponsorship, who's hitting 3 money birds with 1 stone. He's there for a product. He's there for a press conference. He's there to talk about any new sponsorships or spread his whiskey company. He's there for other reasons than to just announce a fight announcement. But what better way to incorporate some news into your sponsorships than to release some news? Conor McGregor has announced that January 18th, 2020, he will make his long-awaited return to the octagon.
January 18th, the return of the notorious Conor McGregor. 12 weeks this Saturday at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. That will be the beginning of my season. I will then look to compete against the winner of Nate Diaz, Jorge Masvidal for the bad motherfucker title. Obviously, I have history with Nate Diaz. We are set to make the trilogy bout. So we will see how that one goes. I feel Nate will get the better of that one. And we will contest the trilogy bout. Then I will seek the Moscow bout. And it will be against the winner of Tony Ferguson and Khabib Nurmagomedov. I can't even say the guy's name. Who gives a f*** what the guy's name is?
Wow, it sounds awesome.
And then he has some other plans. He wants to fight the winner of Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal, and we'll get into that after. He wants to then fight the winner of Khabib Nurmagomedov, the guy who just beat him, versus the winner of Tony Ferguson, versus one of the guy who could beat Khabib. He wants to fight 3 fights in 2020. We haven't seen this since Conor McGregor since 2016, when he fought Nate Diaz twice, and he fought Eddie Alvarez to be the champ. 2015, Dennis Seaver in January, Chad Mendes in July, and Jose Aldo in December. So it's been a while since he's fought multiple times. Once he reached that Floyd Mayweather platform, the big money platform where he netted $99 million, he's fought once a year. Floyd, Khabib. Didn't fight in 2020. It's been years since he's done that. He claims, he promises he's coming back January 18th, 2020, Las Vegas, and he says, Dana White, you pick the opponent. I'm on board for it. Conor, I kind of believe you. I used to believe you a lot more, but now you're this salesman, you're this business guy. Yeah, your brash confidence has taken a hit. I can't believe everything you say after the Khabib performance, after you've taken off a while, after you've demanded a direct rematch with Khabib. You were wrong on that. You got me blocked by your coach for disagreeing about the rematch.
Wow, it sounds awesome.
In a way, I appreciate you coming out and saying you're wrong. It takes a big man to admit you're wrong. To the IkeTagon, I appreciate that, Conor. But I can't trust you until I see what you do. So, we'll see. We'll see. That's all we'll say. You're like the son that says he's going to be home by 11, not going to have a drink. You get home at 2:30. You smell like Captain Morgan's scurvy. You smell disgusting. And then you promise you won't do it again. And then you have one drink and you show up even later. Conor, you got to show me that you're going to be sober. You're promising that you're not drinking. Let's see it, brother. Let's see it. Oh, and by the way, the whole funniest takeaway from Conor McGregor's press conference and sponsorship deals and handlings in Moscow was that some Dagestani reporter threw a bottle at Conor McGregor. Check it out.
They sold items in the grocery with my face on it. They sold items in the grocery
All
with my
people,
face
my father, my brother,
yes,
you think a coward?
Yes.
What coward?
Yes. Don't
What coward? My father, what do for you? What?
Amazing. They take it to the heart. Conor McGregor's like, oh, sticks and stones may break my bones, but Paul in spring won't hurt me. Yeah. That would be a brick in the street. This was a well-educated guy from that part of the world. Imagine it was a killer from the street. He'd probably stab McGregor for saying those words that he did about Khabib. But moving on. Now, I mentioned that Conor wants to fight the winner of the Jorge Masvidal Nate Diaz fight November 2nd, MSG. Our backyard, New York and Long Island, and upstate New York and Plattsburgh, and all you border Canada people. Conor McGregor wants to fight the winner of Masvidal and Nate Diaz, but that match is in jeopardy. Unfortunately, Nate Diaz came out forthright, admitting that USADA, the United States Anti-Doping Association, off the top of the noggin, has stated that he's taken some tainted supplements. Now, Nate Diaz is a cult hero. He's an underground king. The UFC has failed to recognize both Diaz's star power, Nick and Nate, throughout their entire career, up until Nate fought Conor McGregor, beat him, almost beat him 2 times, held out 3 years, comes back, beats Anthony Pettis. Now the UFC wants to back him. But we'll see just how much star power he has if the UFC could keep this fight intact. Now, I don't believe Nate Diaz took steroids. He's a vegan. He loves his eccentric greens. I don't believe he stuck a needle up his ass. I really don't. I believe it could be some over-the-counter supplement that he put into a shaker, shook it up, took it. Maybe he popped for something that had creatine in it. I do not believe he did some hardcore steroids like Anabol or T-ball or anything that has ball on the end of it. Ironically, it shrinks your balls. But I don't believe he did any of that stuff. I believe it was probably maybe a marijuana warning or something. But again, we will see just how much power Nate Diaz has if he still fights on that November 2nd card. And he's headlining the card. He's the only fighter in the past 3 years that have headlined a UFC card without a title on the line. Obviously the 2 Conor fights. And now this third fight, I don't even know how to count. This third fight against Jorge Masvidal, no titles on the line. The UFC only wants main events in their pay-per-view events with titles. Nate Diaz has no title for those past 3 fights. So he's a big deal. But we will see his star power, how much the UFC can flex their corporate muscles if they keep him on the card November 2nd. We've seen in the past, Brock Lesnar entered the steroid testing pool 3 months before his fight, and it's known that it needs to be 6 months before your fight you enter the steroid pool to fight. He saved the card at UFC 200. We saw John Jones cause the UFC to move an entire event. John Jones was slated to fight Alexander Gustafsson at UFC 232 in Las Vegas, Nevada. Nevada finds some steroid findings, some picograms in his test samples. This isn't how they test. This is like, I got the whole protein scooper in my head. They're like, John, yeah, you tested positive. That's it, man. You're out. No, they went through extensive testing. They found steroids. Dana White wanted to keep the fight intact. It was the last card in the UFC pre-ESPN era. He kept it intact by moving it to another state. Are you kidding me? John Jones tests positive multiple times. Dana White picks up the entire card from Las Vegas, calls up Andy Foster, and the California State Athletic Commission says, hey, can we stage this bout over here in your Los Angeles Forum Arena? Yeah, we want money. Boom. John Jones keeps the fight intact. Brock Lesnar keeps his fight intact. Can the UFC keep this fight intact for Nate Diaz? We will see. Nate released a strong statement that he didn't do steroids. It's sad that it comes to this. This does put a slight bruise on his career. Not a black eye, but a tiny bruise that's turning from blue to yellow to green. It's not bad, but it's still a mark on his career. But I believe the card will stay intact. It's New York City. They've only had huge events there. Conor McGregor versus Eddie Alvarez, 2016. George St. Pierre versus Michael Bisping, 2017. 2018 was one of the best fighters of all time, John Jones' rival, Daniel Cormier fighting Derek Lewis. That fight kind of went by the wayside. But 2019, the baddest belt is on the line. Nate Diaz versus Jorge Masvidal. Put your money on them keeping the event intact. And there's been no official release that this event is not intact. So I believe it's still going to happen. We're going to get Nate Diaz in New York. Some reporters have been worried that Nate Diaz is such a hardcore soldier, lives by a certain code, that just because he has this mark on his name now, he's not going to show up to any press events or show up to the fight even, just to make a point and show his disapproval of the system. I hope that's not the case, but it's possible. A fight recap real quick. UFC on ESPN 6, Chris Weidman, Dominic Reyes. The picks were back in business, baby. Yeah, I'm blaming it on some tournaments. Yeah, I'm blaming the bad picks on a wedding. But the picks were back in business. The picks were back in business. That's freaking right, everybody. 4-1 last weekend. Ike is back with the likes in your life. Let's go. I was wrong, though, about Chris Weidman and Dominic Reyes. Can't fault me on that. Picked fellow Long Islander Chris Weidman to get it done over the fast-rising Dominic Reyes. Unfortunately, Chris didn't get it done. His move to light heavyweight was a poor attempt at shooting for that John Jones title fight. Dominic Reyes comes out here, proves why he's got a ton of confidence, proves why he's still undefeated, and proves why he's aligning himself up for a potential #1 contender fight, which would be the key to the John Jones fight. So good job, Dominic Reyes. Got the TKO, knocked Weidman down, some back fists, got it done amazingly. Joe Lozon, my mind, body, soul warrior of the week. Dude comes off from like 500 plus off days, comebacks, beats Steven Pierce. First round, some weird finagling, gift wrap, full Nelson Big Brother beatdown. Amazing job by Lozon. Darren Stewart won over Deron Wynn, like I said, because Deron Wynn missed weight. That was the only reason why I picked Deron Wynn. I feel like you don't respect the game if you're missing weight. Good job, Darren Stewart. Macy Barber, the fast rising women's prospect, got it done again in astonishing fashion, this time with a standing TKO against Gillian Robertson. Macy Barber's lining herself up for bigger things. She says she's going to be a world champion before 2021, which would be amazing. She would have to go through Valentina Shevchenko, and she believes she will in a year. She says she'll win 3 more fights and she'll be the champion at 125. She's a tough girl, swings hard, hasn't lost yet, and is full of confidence, speaks very well. Wants the Paige Van Zandt fight, the big money fight in her division, but we'll see if that comes to fruition. The biggest takeaway from UFC Boston, UFC on ESPN 6, Greg Hardy believes you can use a freaking inhaler.
Can I take my inhaler?
Where is it?
It's in my pocket.
The medical toy?
Yes. Yeah.
USADA approved.
Second zone, let's go.
Let's go, kid.
Now, I know in the NFL, if a player runs all the way down the field, 100 yards, they give him a oxygen mask. But this is fighting, man. Cardio is part of the discipline. If you're not up to par with your cardiovascular, then that's kind of an advantage if you're taking an inhaler. Let's go. That's right. The entire broadcast of fighters and announcers were killing Greg Hardy for this. Daniel Cormier's like, you can't do that, man. That's cheating. Dominic Cruz was saying, the Boston Commission cut off tape on my legs. Why are they letting this guy get an inhaler? And there's some mix and mash news on this. Dana White says it's not a problem. It was approved. It shouldn't happen. There's a lot of confusion going on with this inhaler situation.
For some reason, you know, and I don't want to sound like I'm defending him, he didn't know. He's asked the commissioner, somebody from the commission, and they asked him, is it medically approved? And he said, yes, it's approved by USADA.
First, I guess, what your emotion is on finding out you didn't get a win tonight, you got a no contest.
Super sad.
But Hardy's putting all the doubters to sleep. He's had a pretty poor start to his UFC career. January, disqualified for an illegal knee. Now this fight is disqualified for using an inhaler. What were you thinking, dude? You were winning anyway. What were you thinking? But he wants to please all parties by taking a fight, a short notice fight, in 2 weeks, November 9th, in Moscow. Maybe Conor could give him some other stuff to get him through that fight.
Yes. What, Conor? What, Conor? My father, what do for you? What?
Wow, it sounds awesome.
Watch out for the reporters, Greg Hardy. Greg Hardy's trying to prove in 1 year how much he's evolved and how much he's learned. This is a risky move. If he gets knocked out, everybody's going to dance on his grave. His figurative grave, obviously. But if he gets knocked out, I believe the haters are going to show themselves big time. And if he wins, holy, this dude is moving into a top 10 fight, top 7 fight for 2020. So good job by him. Let's see how it works out. Obviously, there's another fight this weekend. There's more fights than freaking baseball games at this point. UFC Fight Night 162, UFC Singapore, Ben Askren, Funky Ben taking on Damian Maia. It's a former Olympian wrestler versus a former jiu-jitsu world champion. It's the clash of grappling. If you love guys rolling on the floor with no clothes and nobody's punching anybody in the face, tune in. 8 a.m. Saturday, UFC Singapore. I think Maya's going to get it done. I think Askren's going to lose 2 in a row. This is a big loss for him. He talks all that crap. He lost the big money fight against Jorge Masvidal, who's now fighting headlining MSG. Now he's fighting Singapore at 8 a.m. East Coast time against Damian Maia, who's a quiet talker, who Askren can't even pick on the guy in any type of fashion. It's awful if he loses this fight, but I think he needs to be humbled even more. Damian Maia, first round submission. Ooh. Michael Johnson, Stevie Ray. I'm going Michael Johnson to outpoint Stevie Ray. Frank Camacho, Beneil, Dariush. I'm gonna go Dariush. I feel like he does well on that side of the world. I feel like Camacho is still that slugger, but will get outpointed by Dariush. So those are my picks. Maia, Johnson, Dariush. The what the f*** moment of the week. Here we go. Here we go. This ref believes that it's his time to shine. He's stepping in there, showing that... I don't know what he's showing. He's trying to show that he's stretched too. Okay, I get it. You know, you fought a little or sparred a little or trained a little. You know, you're jumping in there. Great job. Wow, he's loving his job. You know what? That's important. If you're passionate about your work, you never work a day in your life. So this guy hasn't worked at all. Whoa, except for that stage dive. I mean, somebody get this guy off the booger sugar. But great job, ref. And you saved the fighters from doing any more damage than they could have by jumping in there and separating them. Good job, ref. You are the what the moment of the week. And one more time, this Dagestani reporter throwing a bottle at Conor McGregor.
Yes. What, Conor? What, Conor? My father, what do for you? What?
Awesome.
It's really good stuff. You guys are the what the moments of the week. Mr. Dagestani and Mr. Rick James. Movie reviews. I've been wanting to see this movie for a long time. I missed it in the theaters, but Alita, Battle Angel. It's directed by Rich Rodriguez. I think I nailed that off the top of my head. Produced by James Cameron. What do you know? A 3D beauty of a film. Great action. So-so story. Pacing was off, but amazing action. Great acting. Christoph Waltz. And that's all I know who was in that movie. But great acting overall. The vision was there. And there might be a sequel there. But unfortunately, I'm not jumping head over heels for the sequel. While this was good, smart, it was fun, it was a little plot drifts. I couldn't wait for the action scenes. I mean, seriously, this is what you're going to the movie theaters and your friend's basement to see. Alita is this samurai fighting cyborg body who's whooping ass, kicking everybody's ass, cracking necks, cashing checks, whatever they say. The action's phenomenal. But know what you're going for, okay? Not gonna give it an A. I almost gave it a B+. B. Fair. It's like in between a B and a B+. Like a B-us. A bus. It's a bus. The next movie gets worse. Sleepless. 2017 Sleepless. Jamie Foxx is a Las Vegas cop who's undercover for 2 years. His family's falling apart. The action is aight. The acting is aight. Everything is good besides the movie. No. It was okay. It was loose. It was watchable. It was decent. But this is going to be the lowest film that I rate so far on IkeTagon's history. This is a C. The second lowest was Jake Gyllenhaal's Enemy movie, where he's a twin. Spoiler alert. But Sleepless is the actual worst. At least Jake Gyllenhaal killed his performance. Not saying Jamie Foxx was bad, but he was a little above average. It wasn't Kingdom. It wasn't Ray Charles. It wasn't that movie where he's the orchestra guy with Robert Downey Jr. This was above average. It seemed like it was a cash the check, move the ball, move the chains, but it wasn't phenomenal. So I'm giving it a C. Did I explain enough? Don't see it. Watch Alita Bad Angel. That's better. This week's positive message. If you're not broke, explore the world. And if you don't have a lot of obligations keeping you tied down, whether that's kids, job, organizations that you contribute to, explore more. I know this is the pot calling the kettle black or throwing a rock from a glass house. Yeah, I'm traveling now, but I've made it a goal to travel more since 2014 when I flew for the first time in my life. Yes, I was a 25-year-old man, and that was the first time that I flew anywhere, and it was a 70-minute flight that was delayed for like 10 minutes to Cleveland to see my buddy who just got married. But travel more. That was pretty sad. I was pretty scared when it took off. I thought maybe I was going to see the moon or Mars mission. No, it was an 80-minute flight. It was fun. It was cheap. Since then, I've been to Buffalo. Yeah, to really name places. Buffalo, Atlantic City. No. Boston. I've really spread my horizon. No, I've been to Cali multiple times, Florida, overseas a couple times. So as long as the money is correct, as long as you can line up the budget, book it far enough, Ibiza. As long as you can book it far enough in advance, do it. Travel. Even if it's a couple states away, down to Florida for the East Coast or across to California from the East Coast bias. Do it. I got a trip to Los Angeles for $210 because I booked it 30 days before, and I guess nobody likes to fly in March out there, but if you look hard enough, you're going to find what you're looking for. That's the message. Explore and look. There you go, kids. IkeTagon number 7, rolling away, flying away. Europe, here I come. Zézoupi, Chocolat Bleu, Oui Oui, Aboupin. Not bad, right? I don't know what I said, but hopefully it's not talking about anybody's wife or offending their nationality. I'll work on some words. I'll figure out beer, cigarette, coffee, maybe water. But I'm traveling. I'll be back in the studio. Hey, quiet up there. 2 weeks. In the time being, I'll release podcasts. I'll do my best to release podcasts, social media updates, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at IkeTagon, everywhere. And I'll do my best to release some videos. Might be difficult editing over there, maybe on the Wi-Fi, but I will try my best for you folks. Thank you. IkeTagon is out. How do you say goodbye in French?